All right, so this TF2 stuff is really coming to a head. So I wanted to talk about it and discuss some of the things behind it. I'm going to go into some of the history behind the whole aimbot problem and all of that, as well as some of the things that I've been noticing that maybe other people are not paying attention to because they're not in the developer forums or in the developer wiki like I am looking. So let's just take a look at this. It's very interesting stuff going on. So a little bit of history. So 2 years ago, the Team Fortress 2 Twitter account posted this tweet trying to address the aimbot problem. TF2 community, we hear you, we love this game, and know you do too. We see how large this issue has become and are working to improve things. And that was, like I said, May 26th, 2022, 2 years ago. And you can see in the comments, people are pretty upset that they have made this tweet and not said anything related to this for the following 2 years. So, yeah, things really kind of came to a head at that point. After the 2 year mark, people got angry, and rightly so. There's no reason for this kind of thing. So they made a petition, and here it is right here. Save TF2, fix TF2, 305,000 signatures. And the main thing is the aimbots need to go. For the past 5 years, Team Fortress 2 has become nearly unplayable. The game's official servers have been overrun by hordes of cheating aimbots, while Valve has remained steadfast in their refusal to adequately tackle the problem. This lack of developer interference has thrown the game into a state of turmoil, with seemingly no end in sight. Now, that's the main concern of this petition, but they also just went a little too far, I think, and talked about, oh, well, it's also, harmful and what do they say? Yeah, something to the effect of racist or sexist or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, anyway, let's just read the whole thing. So the bot hosters are malicious actors using their aimbots as a vessel to endlessly attack and harass community members. They abuse the in-game text and voice chats to spread the most vile hate speech imaginable. There it is. While simultaneously advertising their bot immunity services in an attempt to scam the players desperately looking for a solution. They've used these same means to dox people's personal information and broadcast it to the player base against their will. Bot hosters have even gone so far as to commit actual crimes, such as using AI voice modifications to impersonate and slander non-consenting parties, launching persistent DDoS attacks, and have even swatted one of their most ardent critics. There should be a zero-tolerance policy relating to this kind of contact, and Valve needs to be held accountable for persistently refusing to acknowledge it. Now, I don't think that they're refusing to acknowledge it. I think they just can't nail this down. Like, something in Valve anti-cheat is deficient in identifying the aimbots and getting these people banned and following up with these things. However, that's just my theory, and I do have some credence to that. There's some receipts, which we'll get into in a moment. But it does seem like it's not a matter of policy, it's a matter of technology. Because if you look at Valve anti-cheat is pretty strict. I mean, they will ban you across the board if they catch you cheating. Now, with something like TF2, it's a free game. You can create a Steam account, jump in there, and wreak havoc to your heart's content. And if your account gets banned, no big deal. So there is a bit of a problem there. You don't have to rebuy the game because the game doesn't need to be rebought. It's all, DLC and Marketplace. And to that effect, Steam does make a fairly good amount of money off of all of those transactions. So even being a free game, this is a revenue source, a large revenue source for Valve, and leaving it to twist in the wind like they've been is a big problem. I mean, they need to address this, absolutely. And it helps when they see people threaten to vote with their dollar and walk away from it, like effectively this petition is doing, and also like the review bombing that has been happening. I mean, we went from effectively a positively reviewed game to a massively negatively reviewed game instantaneously as of June 3rd. So they saw this. They noticed the review bomb. They noticed they realize the petition is out there. They understand that people are angry, and they're getting to the point where this is gonna affect their bottom line. So that does have an effect, without a doubt. And we can see that even in their own wiki. Like they just added this recently. As of June 3rd, 4th, 2024, the game recently received mixed reviews for recent reviews, then quickly became negative as many players review bombed the game due to the amount of bot accounts used for cheating, harassment, and trolling purposes entering Valve casual matchmaking servers, which Valve has yet to respond. So they do own it in their own wiki, and there's more in their wiki that I want to get into as well. So like with their wiki, they've got this running history of some of the documentation, and specifically a lot of this around TF2 scripting, script functions, has been changing, and we're going to get into 3 of those that I think have relevance. But you can see they've been working on this for quite some time. I mean, this is 5th of June. You can go even further back. Scripting, vscript examples from the 3rd of June, and even as far back down here is 29th of May, and even the 28th of May, and that's as far back as you can go because it's MediaWiki. It doesn't let me push even further back than that, but what are you going to do, right? So even as far back as we can go, we can see that they've been making changes. However, the most relevant changes are fairly recent, and that starts, let's say, with this one. This is the least relevant, but I think it does have credence. This is related mainly, I think, to the weapon equipping. There's a lot of stuff in here that they added documentation to that talks about, moving weapons around and trading weapons and all that stuff. And I think there's some credence to the fact that this might be some kind of an exploit that some of the cheaters are using, like some kind of a weapon cheat. So this could very well be related to that. It's the least likely to be related to the cheating problem on the servers. So I put that one first, but the next one is way more relevant, and that has to do with eye angles. And this is a change from the 11th of June. It's fairly recent. So this is changing from, you can see on the left here, player.eye angles to player.local eye angles, and player.snap eye angles for Q angle, as well as old angles here down below, to netprops.setProp vector. So this was a big change, because this is a functional alteration of how their scripting API works. I think if I'm theorizing here, I think that this was done to better be able to flag bots using aimbots, effectively figuring out which ones are aimbots and which ones are actual players based on some flagging operations that are going on in the behind the scenes that didn't exist until the 11th of June here. So that's my theory anyway, is that's what's going on here. And so they may very well be addressing it and changing the documentation to reflect that, because that's a big change, and that would tell me that something big under the hood changed for that to need to be changed to netprops.setProp vector. But we don't know for sure. It's just speculation. And then the last one, also very similar. This is related to checking if someone's a bot or a player. So there's some added documentation. Returns true if player matches this bot type. Only one type of bot exists, which is reserved for AI bots. And then it's got some wiki entry here. So I mean, there's some added documentation around Puppet or AI to make sure to check if there's an AI bot going on or a player. So this could very well be false flagging people or false positives or false approving people as players versus an aimbot or something. So there could have been something in the back end that wasn't lining up properly. So this is again a likely scenario that this is going and checking to see if there's an aimbot in use that's causing problems, wreaking havoc on servers. So like I said, there's 3 changes, 2 of them really relevant to aimbots and all the hacking going on in TF2 servers. So it looks like they're addressing it. It looks like something is going on in the back end that they're trying to deal with this. Now the question remains, how much is needed for this to work? How much changes do they have to put in? How much work do they have to put in to identify and deal with these problems in an efficient manner in the back end? And based on how Valve anti-cheat works, they're going to need to change a lot of things. They're going to need to make a lot of alterations to figure this all out. Just because Valve anti-cheat, the big thing with Valve anti-cheat is effectively figuring out if something is hooking into the game on the local machine. So it's not inspecting network packets. It's not checking server side. It's not doing anything like that to identify these aimbots. So it sounds like they needed to add a lot more to figure this out, and make some alterations to Valve anti-cheats, make some enhancements in order for this to work properly, for them to identify these aimbots. That's just suspicion on my account, just kind of theorizing, because if you're relying on the client computer to figure out if the client computer is hacking or cheating, you're going to have a bad time, and that's basically how Valve anti-cheat works. So yeah, it's something that definitely needed to be addressed. And like I said, I mean, this is a massively popular game. I mean, look at them in the past year alone, it has been just insane, the player counts. And letting that rot on the vine, letting that just go away is not something that Valve wants to do. So I think they've been trying to kick the can down the road for 2 years, and probably shouldn't have. They probably should have addressed this 2 years ago and dealt with it, but they didn't. So now we're in this situation. But what are you gonna do? I mean, it's hopefully it doesn't end up like our gameplay footage here, Unreal Tournament, which has been memory holed by Epic, all versions of Unreal Tournament effectively. So hopefully it doesn't end up like that, where you can't even buy it on Steam anymore. It just doesn't exist, and their big new Unreal Tournament project has been memory hold too, because that is gone from the Epic store, and it's just sad to see. So hopefully TF2 does not end up like that. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping for you guys, because I gotta tell you, I miss UT, and I'm glad that I bought it on Steam, because I could still get it on Steam and play it and get this footage like I did. So yeah, I'm just it's sad to see those kind of things happen, and TF2 is such a hugely popular game. I can't imagine them letting this die. So that's what I got for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, give it a like, and I will talk to you guys later.